Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is the legendary LaShawn here. Sorry if my voice sounds a little scratchy on the mic. I think I have a little bit of like a allergy thing going. With the change of the season, it gets my allergies going real strong, and it is really crazy to deal with. It feels like Ryu is Shinku Shoryukening my sinuses right now. But back to the reason that we are in this video. If you guys don't know, recently, I think within like, what was that, last week I believe it was, Capcom released that they were going to be doing their final patch for Street Fighter V. And it was really cool. It looked really interesting. It looked like it had some pretty cool new moves that they would get. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily new moves, but some new combo paths that they were giving to characters, and it looked like they were adding on what was already there, right? And of course, like, you know, a lot of people really liked this. A lot of people thought that it looked good, and a lot of people were saying that, oh, like, you know, Capcom is, you know, taking steps in the right direction, which I do believe that they are, right? But it seems that for a lot of videos that I've been seeing, like, you know, I watched Brian F's video, I watched Punk's video, I watched Maximilian Dude's video on it, and they're all very, very excited. And it's like, I wish that I wish that I could share in that. And I don't quite know what it is, right? I don't know what is nagging at me that is keeping my excitement level for going to the top, right? From seeing the things that Ed and Jory can do, right? But I have this sneaky suspicion that I shouldn't be hyped, right? That I shouldn't be so excited. And at first glance, maybe I was just being pessimistic, but I think the reason why is because when I look at the video, for all of the things that they showed, it was very, very specific. Like it was pretty specific. The new things that they showed, right? Like, for the most part, they showed things. You win. They showed some new things for characters that kind of like needed them for certain V triggers to be valuable, or for the character to be a bit more valuable, right? So, like, even, let's take Jory for instance, right? Nobody really ever uses V-Trigger 2, right? It's pretty much, a lot of people feel like it's pointless. A lot of people feel like there's no real point in it, even though to me, solely taking away someone's meter is a solid strategy, because it forces the opponent to kind of make a decision based on, especially if they are a player that is very heavy on resources, it forces them to kind of try to do what they have to do to get you off of them, right? So whether that's using a V reversal or a V shift, or, like, you know, an EX move or whatever else, right? Because the whole entire time, right, anything that they do, any little button that they press to gain meter, you're taking it away, and that adds for you, right? So either you have a super available, which is super damaging, or you have, like, you know, your EX moves, which, like, you know, but be a possible combo extender or whatever else you want to do, right? So for that, to alleviate that problem, it seems like they made it so that with V-Trigger 2, I guess when you press both heavies, that if the opponent is, I guess, maybe in like an air state, or if you're close enough or whatever else, that you can restand them. They'll stand back up, and then you can keep on going into a combo, which is really dope, right? Also saw Bison. He can be able to get, like, you know, a nice little combo from his V-Trigger. Ed was actually a genuinely nice move where they're, like, you know, he's able to do, I guess, a new EX move from his flicker, which is really really dope. And even, I forgot whose V-Trigger it was. I am trying to recall. Oh yeah, it was Ryu. His V skill 2 looks like now I don't know if it's only in V-Trigger. I would hope that it's actually just normally, because that would be really good for making Ryu a more dangerous character. It looks like his V-Skill 2, the little perfect counter thing that he has, it looks like it's going to be able to wall bounce your enemy off of the wall so that you're able to follow it with like a Shoryuken, and then if you use that with V trigger 2, that would be a lot of damage potentially, right? And so these things look very interesting, but a lot of what I saw was certain things to either make characters more viable, like make their V skills more viable, or tools to help to make them more, I guess, of better use, if you want to call it that, right? And that's not a bad thing. Like, you know, you definitely should do that for the characters. You definitely want all the characters to be like somewhat viable, right? But the weirdest thing to me is that I don't know. For some reason, because of that, like my main thing with Street Fighter V, right? For the longest time, it's felt like this game has been so like cookie cutter. Like you have to play this way. You have to do this thing. If you're using this V trigger, this is how you have to play, right? And it feels constricting. It feels like there's not always the most there's not the most ways, or there aren't enough ways to express yourself as a player, right? And again, this is something that multiple players, multiple commentators, multiple YouTubers have made a video on concerning Street Fighter V, and it seems like they've gotten better, right? Luke is a shining example of that. The combos that you can do with Luke, there are a lot of variations. But even with Luke, there are certain times where you can... There are certain things that you should be able to do, and it's plain and clear to see that you should be able to do it, but you can't for whatever reason. And so my thing is that for like this patch, I really just want this patch to be fun, and I want it to be focused on fun, right? This is the last patch before Street Fighter 6 is going to be coming out, and I'm hoping that Street Fighter 6 is not too much like Street Fighter 5, and I'm hoping that it's a complete game. I'm hoping that it allows you to express yourself as a player, as somebody, as two people can play the same character, but play in two completely separate ways, right? Without having to do things like choose a different V trigger or whatever else. You know, and I'm really hoping that with this patch and I'm hoping that Capcom in general just makes things about fun. It's interesting to me that, like, when you talk about fighting games, and especially when you get into the topic of Street Fighter, so many people go to Street Fighter, like Street Fighter Third Strike or Street Fighter 4, right? And they talk about the type of sick things that you can do. Now, Street Fighter Third Strike's problem was there was only certain characters that were viable, right? Even though, like, when you see people that play it now on Fightcade, they still try to, like, you know, do things with Q and all those different type of people. Like, you know, well, Oro's a pretty viable character. He's supposed to be the zoning guy. But even, like, with 12 and stuff like that, like, people try to do different stuff. But when you think about Street Fighter 4, you know, you have so many players that, like I said, would play the same, two people that would play the same character but do it completely different, right? Like a Momochi and a Sako or whatever. Like, you know, if those two chose Ken, they would be two people playing the same character that is completely different. And so for me, that's my only problem with this patch, is that I kind of feel like this is to make V triggers and V skills more viable, not really to just enhance the fun of the game. And you may be like, oh, you're just overreacting. But the other reason I'm thinking this is because of the choice that they made for the filters. I don't understand. Does Capcom not understand people's gripes with this game? And let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Let me know through whatever social medias that I'm going to post this on if I'm wrong, right? Who is playing offline? I don't understand. Who is playing offline Street Fighter? Like, my homies, like, just to let you know, me and my homies, we started having Sunday night fights religiously every week when we were playing Street Fighter 4, right? When Street Fighter 5 came out, we were doing it for a while, but when that game came out, it scarred two of my friends so much that they just stopped playing fighting games. One of my friends just stopped playing games for a minute because fighting games was his thing, especially the Capcom fighting games, and it was just a really horrible product, right? So even now, after everything that they've done with Championship Edition and all these characters and everything else, who's playing the offline? Who? So why would you take this really cool filter, especially that cell shading filter? Mwah, it looks beautiful. It looks amazing the way that the characters look, and it complements the style of the whole V-Skills and V-Trigger and all that stuff, that whole watercolor thing. It complements that so well. Why? I'm trying to understand logically. Is it like a development thing? Did you not have enough time to do it because you guys need to put more focus on the Street Fighter V and to making sure that's a perfect game so that you guys can get back in people's good graces? Like, why would you not put that as a option for the online? People are investing their time online. They're doing these tournaments. A lot of people are grinding and stuff like that. Who is doing extra battle mode anymore? Nobody's doing extra battle mode anymore. You guys haven't updated any of the offline content to make us come back to anything that we want. And so again, just to kind of finish up here, because I know I'm probably just ragging on and on. You know, it's not that I'm not happy about the patch. I'm really happy because it looks like they're making some. They're at least noticing that certain V-Skills and certain characters need something to make them fun and enjoyable for the player. So I'm really, really happy for that, right? But I'm just a little wary that they still don't get, as Reggie so eloquently, so fascinatingly put when he was up there on that stage at E3 for Nintendo. If the game isn't fun, what's the point, right? Street Fighter Third Strike is not a fun game to watch because it's just a lot of button pressing. But playing Third Strike, those parries, the combos, the footsies, the supers, I mean, yo, those John, I mean, it was amazing. It was great. And even though it didn't sell well at the time, it still at least was a solid Street Fighter game, right? And so I really just hope that Capcom just really understands that it's about fun. It's about making an enjoyable product for your customer and then letting them expand their horizons naturally, not through you bullying them and shoehorning them in to play a certain way. So that's pretty much going to do it all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like videos like this where I'm just talking instead of just going through gameplay and whatever else, then let me know in the comments. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, share it with your friends if any of you guys have echoed this same sentiment. And I will see you guys later. Peace.